What's up, guys? Dane here. Welcome to the Kick On Rugby channel. Another episode of This Week in Rugby. I'm so glad I started this kind of segment of the channel because every week since the World Cup, there's just been something else that's popped up in rugby. Like I say, every week, the drama of rugby, I'm loving it. It's been ages since rugby's had this much drama, this consistently. Living for the drama. Um, let's get right into it. Let's do it. Obviously, the massive talking point this week is World Rugby private or personally coming out to the All Blacks and saying that they admit Aaron Smith's try in the World Cup final shouldn't have been overturned. I've already done a little bit on this earlier in the week. Go check that out. My biggest thing with it is TMOs need to be given less authority over the game, over the ruling of their game, over the game. They've got too much they can say, too much. They're playing God. They're disrupting the game, and then they're still getting it wrong. That's all I'm going to say about this segment. Go check out the video I did earlier in the week. I've said it all in there. We're moving on from it. Australian coaches put their hand up to potentially fill the void left open by Eddie Jones. Stephen Larkham putting his hand up to replace Eddie Jones. Ooh, does he really? Wallabies great, Larkham open to Wallabies coaching job. ACD Brumbies coach is viewed as one of the leading contenders to fill the vacancy left by Jones when he walked out on the Wallabies just 10 months into a 5-year deal last month. I'm certainly interested in trying to help rugby in Australia. That's pretty broad, said Larkham. We've got a real philosophy here to make sure we are growing the game as an organization. So however I can help in terms of improving our results and improving our growth within the sporting arena, I'd love to be involved. Now that can mean a lot of things. That can mean backline coach or assistant coach. He's the head coach currently of the Brumbies and doing well with them. We know he's been super successful on the field. He's very early on in his coaching career, but he knows how to win. He's won a World Cup. He knows how to win. He's done well with the Brumbies. He was part of that era that was doing really well with Wallabies rugby. Obviously, yes, he was playing then, but you have a taste, or you kind of have the ins and outs, the material, the salt and pepper of what to do, adding those last little bits of ingredients to make your dish. And he would know that. So I don't mind this. I do know though that the next appointment that Rugby AU make as Wallabies head coach is so important. So important. You can't go bang, bang, 2 flops. Like they're obviously banking on Eddie Jones being a success. And there's a lot of hope put into Eddie Jones's appointment. And I'm pretty like I think everyone thought that. I was initially like, this is good for Rugby Australia. He come in with a bang. And obviously things didn't go to plan. And, that happens. Life happens. Rugby happens. I just like, geez, does anyone want to? But, man, Stephen Larkham, through and through, Wallabies, great. Lives and breathes the game. So if they're going to appoint someone, that is a good candidate. And he's been through it all. So I think that could work. I don't know who else there's been a few other coaches that have said, nah, they don't want to touch it. So we don't know. But we'll keep a close eye on that one. I think Stephen Larkham gets my vote. Whether he wants to do that, whether he's listening to this podcast now or the show now, I don't know. But he gets Stephen Larkham, you get my vote. The next Wallabies coach. Staying on Rugby AU, Waratahs' first Australian franchise to align with Rugby AU. So I'm going to go. The agreement will see responsibility for the operations of the Waratahs' professional rugby entities passed on to Rugby Australia from 1st of January 2024. Rugby Australia will take responsibility for the Waratahs' high performance operations, assets, liabilities, and commercial arrangements. All Waratahs employees will continue in their current roles. Huge. It's like I'm taking all of your stuff now. You've been a bad boy. I'm taking it from you. I get though that they just want everyone to be on the same page. I'm guessing that's kind of it. And Waratahs are the first to be like, we're in. We want to be on the same page. We want to collectively help Rugby Australia be a better rugby nation. That makes sense. New South Wales Rugby Union will continue to take full responsibility for the community game and for delivering programs to grow participation in and engagement with rugby around the state, working in collaboration with the Waratahs and Rugby Australia. That's the big thing there, because that's where I think rugby is being fizzled out, is country and kind of grassroots. I think that's where rugby league is kind of taking over. They're getting the players out into the country areas to run clinics, run coaching courses, all of that. I know Rugby AU is starting slowly with that, but they're really behind the ball with that. I think they need to get more involved with the youngins. Get the players out to country New South Wales, country Queensland, get them playing with the kids, get them coaching the kids, coaching clinics, all of that, coaching the coaches, all of that. More and more of that needs to happen. As soon as players are injured during season, you can do your rehab while on tour in the country, doing coaching clinics. I think that and it needs to be continuous, because that's where I think they're losing it. They're losing the battle to league, to AFL, to those teams. Staying on, there's so much news in Rugby Australia at the moment. Exiled Wallabies captain Michael Hooper confirms code switch ahead of Olympics. Woo. We kind of always see that there's a little bit more news on this around the world with 15s players going to sevens, and we'll touch on that in a minute. That's a new challenge. I've done 15s for so long and played in the Wallaby jersey so long, but to play in sevens tournament and potential to the sevens tournament and potential to go to the Olympics. Jesus, who wrote this? It's exciting stuff. It would be an amazing experience. There's so much water under the bridge to get into that environment. I've trained with these guys. They are hungry and can run forever. I'm one of the bigger guys in the team, which is very unusual. It should be great. He could do it. He could easily do it. He's got an absolute engine on him. I think the only thing that he might struggle with is just the soft skills. So the catching, passing, while being able to run at full pace and throw a 20-meter left to right or right to left. I think that's the only thing. I think everything else, he's pretty fast, hoops, and I'm sure he'll be playing in the front row. Tough as nails. That's a great little asset for sevens, Aussie sevens, and this just speaks volumes of the guy. He's 32, I think he is, or 33, and he's just like, I'm sweet to play international sevens. The difference in fitness levels from 15s to sevens is like driving a Mini Cooper and then driving an 18-wheeler. I'm just making that comparison or different, but it just seems like half the amount of players on the field, so much more running, so much more tackling, So much more skills involved. It's the same game, but it's not. You can see I've seen lots of players do the switch, and some really good, and some struggle. The coach of the Sevens did come out and say that he's had lots of players do it, and Karevi was one that was really good for them in the last Olympics, but they had to change their game plan around him, around his style of play, because he didn't have enough time with the seven squad to fully learn how they play, because it's a totally different game. Oh, everyone can't be cleaning. One player needs to clean. Tackling is one-on-one, and you got 15, 20 meters either side of you. It's not a gang tackle. Sometimes you can get a gang tackle, 2 or 3 on one guy, but normally it's one-on-one, man. And 80% of the time, your opponent is probably faster than you. That's probably the hardest part, is the defense. You get stuck in the middle there in a sevens game on defense, you're in big trouble. Obviously, they work with their structures and so on like that, but one-on-one tackling is the most important. And Hoops can tackle, boy. He can tackle. I think he'll be really, really good for that. And that it just builds up the Olympic sevens for next year, because staying on that, Antoine DuPont, the probably best rugby player in the world at the moment, will reportedly sit out of the Six Nations to prepare for the 2024 Olympic Games, playing sevens for Le Bleu. Ooh, along with Arthur Vincent and Makalau. Nice. Damien Parnell and Louis Bell Biare. I don't know if that's how you say it. One of them two are set to join as well. And the lure of getting that gold medal, it's big, man. It brings players over. And I guess, to the country, so like the rugby country, they probably sit in a big room and they're like, let's win some stuff. Let's win things. The Six Nations, yeah, we've won it before. Give us a couple of players to win the Olympics. We saw South African guys do it. Brian Abana jump across. Francois Hougaard. I think Cheslin Colby was at Blitzbokke before he went to Springboks, but he's done the cross code. Quagga Smith. Guys do it, man. Sonny Bill Williams, like Artie Severe. So many guys. And those guys are more doing the jump from 7s to 15s. But that many guys do the jump both ways. Just shows the skill level of some of the players, man. Like you think it's rugby, it's just less players on the field. It's a totally different game. Sevens is holy. Yeah, and I've spoken to that many guys that have played sevens at international. And they say, like, your body can only hold it for that long. That's why when you see guys that have played for 10, 15 years, like your DJ Forbes, Justin Gedild, Cecil Africa, those guys that are known for just their sevens, these guys are different level fitness, conditioning. Like, yeah. It's a totally different game. They have to be so fast, strong, fit, skillful. And but it's cool. It's cool to see that these players were wanting to do that, have the ability to do it, and then let's just see if they can back it up. And it just brings hype to the Olympic sevens. And Olympics has been around longer than rugby, has it? Pretty sure it has. You want to go and win a gold medal. Yes, you do. And then lastly, from my side of this week in rugby, British and Irish Lions partnership with Premiership and the URC. This is interesting. British and Irish Lions strike a deal with Premiership URC for Australia tour. So the British and Irish Lions have announced a partnership with England's Premiership and the United Rugby Championship to ensure players are available for the 2025 tour to Australia. Yes, all for this, because we want the best coming here. Best believe I'm going to be covering it. It's only in 2 years' time, but the partnership will allow Lions players from the two leagues to be available for all pre-tour activities, as well as marketing and promotional activities. Yes, boy. The deal comes after several players from the Premiership were unavailable for preparations ahead of the 2021 tour when a warm-up test against Japan clashed with the Premiership final. There's a fine line, though. Like, if I'm Bath, like how Bath are playing at the moment, Finn Russell leading the charge, you're going to play a final, and then there's British and Irish Lions, like a warm-up game. Hopefully there's a line, like there's a fine line. Like, I'd rather play the final for Bath. And if I'm the Bath CEO and coach, I'm like, we pay him all year. And now you're going to take him for a warm-up game? No. He's playing. So I hope there's that fine line there. But at the end of that, you want to see the strongest guys playing, yes, in the final, but playing for the British and Irish Lions as well. So I'm sure there's a fine line there. The Lions will play 3 tests against Australia, as well as taking on 5 Super Rugby franchises and an invitational team made up of players from Aussie and New Zealand. I can't wait for that. 2025. Let's go. Let's go. So hopefully, like I said, there's that fine line. Hopefully players can kind of decide. So if you get picked for one and it's only a warm-up game, and there's a Premiership final or a URC final, you're playing the final. 100%. Just that little fine line there. So we'll keep on top of that. Guys, let me know if there's anything I missed. Been rambling on here. Just again, loving the drums. And we'll see you next time. Bye.